Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Okay, this is a little bit more of a serious video over here today. A discovery of sorts of a community on YouTube that I found that I was completely unaware of. But also I want to talk about how it affected me over the last couple days, especially last night, and really kind of how I think YouTube has affected me through the years and things like that, and how it might affect this channel going forward and things like that. I don't really know where I'm going with this video, so just please be patient with me and hang on until the end, because I do have notes taken and there are some things that I want to say at the end of this as far as like going forward on this channel and things like that. So let me give you a little bit of a background story, okay? I think it was 2 or 3 nights ago, I was just like skimming through the YouTube recommendations and stuff like that. You know, people ask me all the time, they're like, what do you watch on YouTube? Like, who are the YouTubers that you watch? And you know, back in the day when I first started watching YouTube, I mean, I don't know, 12, 15 years ago or something like that, I did have several YouTubers that I looked for, you know, that would post their videos, you know, every single day. I loved Glozell Green's videos, and they made me laugh, and I thought she was so naturally hilarious. And you know, for a long time I watched the vloggers Will and RJ that are no longer together, and I really loved their videos and waited for them to post every single day. And there were a lot of people that I watched, and I waited for their video uploads every single day. A couple of years ago, I stopped doing that. And in all honesty, I think covering drama on this channel was probably a huge part of why I stopped following people regularly. The last person that I followed regularly isn't even a person, it's a dog. And it was a dog named Poncho. And it was a little Chihuahua. And the channel was Nick and Poncho. And it was he and his dad. And they were in Italy, and his dad would call him Pancino. And I loved this little this little Chihuahua. He was so cute. And his dad would do these like 2 or 3 minute videos where like the Halloween one was like, I think it was like 2 minutes and 50 seconds or 2 minutes and 40 seconds or something like that. And it was just his dad sitting on like the couch and watching TV, and then the doorbell would ring, and he would go to the door, and it would be Poncho like dressed up like as like a ghost or something like that. And he would just like look down at him, and he'd be like, "Oh, Poncho, you're so scary." And he would like close the door, and then he'd go back and sit down, and like 2 seconds later the doorbell would ring again, and he'd go, and like, you know, Poncho was like dressed up like the devil or something like that. He'd go, "Oh, Poncho, you're scaring me so much. You're scaring." It was like a Halloween video, right? And I loved it, and I loved, you know, watching a Nick and Poncho. And shortly after our Chihuahua Pee-Pee, who was a big part of my channel the first couple years, passed away, like my dream had always been, people always asked me back in the day, they're like, who was your dream collab to be with? And honestly, my dream collab was always that I wanted to get Pee-Pee and Poncho together. Like, that was my dream, to have the two little dogs together doing a collab. And Pee-Pee passed away in December, and then that, like 3 months later, Poncho passed away. And Nick ended up getting another rescue dog like a year later, and they kind of followed the beginning of that, but it didn't feel the same. So that was really kind of, for me, the last channel that I regularly watched everything that they posted. I think that there's this misconception that as drama channels, and I can say this because I've talked to most drama channels within the drama community space that follow beauty influencers and things like that. The majority of us do not watch the people that we cover on a regular basis unless somebody sends us something and says, watch this video. I think the misconception is that, like, I'm watching every Colleen Ballinger video, every James Charles video, every Jeffree Star TikTok video. I mean, I couldn't even tell you the last thing that each of these people put out there. And that's just the truth, you know. And I can't remember the last time that I, like, watched a Shane Dawson podcast, or, you know, listened to a Trisha Paytas podcast all the way through and something like that. You know, a lot of times I'll, like, have the video on in the background as I'm, like, skimming for things in the description box. I will watch it if somebody sends it to me and says, you need to listen to this, so I'll watch it all the way through. but I don't watch these people on a regular basis anymore. When I first started doing drama in this drama community, and we were covering beauty influencers and things like that, it was a different time, you know? And I think one thing that's important in talking about drama commentary specifically within the beauty influencer space, is that when we started doing it, it was a very exciting world. There was so much drama that was going on, you know? This person was dissing this person was befriending that person who had been this person's friend, and they weren't anymore. These people were releasing palettes at the same time. I mean, it was all rather petty, but at the same time, it was really exciting. And it was a time to get really excited about makeup and beauty, right? Because it was these people that we had followed for a long time that were just like all of us, regular people out there that had gotten famous, you know, on YouTube. And it was like this dream. And some of them had been working at the MAC counter. None of them were professionally trained. I think that's very important to note. And so it was like this very exciting time. And I think that one of the things that was really a big part of the OG beauty influencer days, right, was that it was very much like the real world of the beauty influencers. And drama channels were the ones that were kind of the commentary on that were giving the commentary of the, you know, the beauty influencers at the time. And so people were watching that, but then they were watching us to see what we were going to say about it. And it was really exciting to cover. I have to just be honest with you. It was so exciting to cover back in the day, no matter what it was, right? For me, it really kind of started taking a turn around the time that the James Charles allegations came out. And if you go back in time, I was not somebody that really extensively covered that at that time. That was not something that I just was like, okay, I like to flip fans on videos. I like to make funny haha videos. I like to get people to escape out of their mind. See, I didn't think I was going to talk about any of this today. This is not what I thought I was going to talk about, but here we are. So, you know, it was like, that's what I like to do. I like to flip fans and make people laugh. I like to get people out of whatever they were going through for the day, right? And so I didn't really cover a whole lot of that James Charles stuff at the beginning. I've covered James Charles through the years, and I've alluded to the allegations and things like that. But it's interesting because a lot of people will say things to me like the people that, you know, that have issues with the fact that I talk about James Charles, and they'll say, you have come for him for so long. I've actually come for him a lot less than most people have, if you want to know the truth. I didn't cover the initial allegations. I didn't cover them for like 3 to 4 months. I mentioned them. I talked about him losing subscribers, and I referenced them, but I wasn't making whole videos at that time about it. And I don't think there was anything wrong. I think I probably should have been, if you want to know the truth. But I didn't really start talking about James Charles until last year, about the allegations. That was really when I first started talking about it, because it was with Colleen Ballinger and what happened with her last summer. And then I was talking about James Charles, and then there was the interview in the Cosmopolitan article. So that was really when I started heavily talking about James Charles, because I think it's important to talk about James Charles. And I think that is something that I, you know, where I go back and forth in this channel a little bit, because I really want to make people laugh. But at the same time, I feel like I should be putting videos out that have some intention, okay? And maybe that intention is just to make somebody laugh, if that makes sense. But ever since I started doing drama commentary, drama gossip tea, whatever you want to call it, okay? I'm not offended by any of those words. Whatever you want to call it, about beauty influencers, and then later YouTubers like Shane Dawson, Trisha Paytas, and things like that. When I, you know, started doing all that stuff, it was really because, number one, I was so intrigued with this world. Like, the world of the beauty influencer and their rise to fame and all this kind of stuff was so intriguing to them, right? Or so intriguing to me. And so that was really why I started following it. When I saw the behind the scenes of what was going on, and I really saw the unfair practices of some of these people and how they were deceiving their audience and their customers, then my role switched into informing the consumer, which is you, okay? And then that puts me in a very uncomfortable place because there are a lot of people out there that love these people. And so if my job is to inform the audience that the person that they love is maybe not as great of a person as they think they are, or maybe they're a good person, but maybe they're just really money hungry and they're willing to do whatever they are to get their, the dollar and whatever, or maybe it's, the talking about the Jaclyn Hill lipstick gate or whatever that we're talking about, to inform the consumer, then all of a sudden, I'm not a nice person because I'm coming for your favorite. And then it's very divisive. Then it becomes, or it's divided, right? Then it's very divided between who I'm talking about. And I have to be honest with you, about 2 or 3 years ago, it was like there were a lot of people that I just didn't even want to talk about anymore because I knew as soon as I got on video that people were not going to be happy about it, right? But I also felt like those videos needed to be made. Those discussions needed to be had. You guys needed to know information that was found, behind the scenes and things like that. And it's interesting because I find stuff all the time, right? Like all the time. And it's not all bad stuff. Like it's weird how I find stuff because people are like, oh, you're like digging into this person's stuff. That is not it at all. Okay. Like for example, let me tell you, and this is so trivial, but I think it's kind of a cool thing. So many of you know that I love drag pageantry, right? Like I went to my first national drag pageant in 1993, National Entertainer of the Year in Louisville, Kentucky. Shayla Simpson won. She has since passed on. And I just was so taken away. And I had so many friends of mine that were drag performers and I loved it. I loved the art of drag and pageantry, and I followed pageantry for years and years and years. I've followed the Entertainer of the Year pageant system. The Miss Continental system is my all-time favorite. And so I followed the Miss Continental pageant system on Instagram, and I was looking through it, and they have one of their prelim pageants is called, hold on a second, I just screenshot this last night because I knew I was going to want to talk about this in the video. One of their prelim pageants is called Queen of the North Continental, and I think it's in Holland. And Nikki Tutorials was one of the judges for it. And I was like, this is like so cool, the crossover between these communities, right? And so like Nikki Tutorials is a good example for me, right? Like Nikki Tutorials is somebody that I've really, really enjoyed through the years, and I feel that she has stayed out of being problematic and really doesn't insert herself into all of that kind of stuff. And so it's confusing to me that she aligns herself with somebody like James Charles, okay? Which I'm not going to get into the background history of James Charles today because I've done that on enough videos, but it's confusing to me, right? I'm like, okay, you've worked so hard to stay non-problematic through the years, like, and you've done a really great job of it, I think that Nikki Tutorials is a fantastic role model. I think she's a fantastic makeup artist. She's somebody that I really loved watching her content for years and didn't really have to cover her because she was never really doing anything that was problematic, right? And so, I mean, I honestly, like, the one thing that always sticks out to me that I remember about Nikki Tutorials was she did this one thing where she, like, painted, like, it was a trend on, this was before TikTok was even around. It was a trend where, like, people were painting penises on their, like, off their eyelids, and she did it, and then the whole comment section was flooded with, like, this is a family-friendly channel, blah, blah, and she ended up taking the video down. I mean, that is how not problematic Nikki Tutorials has been through the years, and has gone on to get, like, really great opportunities and has, done, Eurovision and done, like, amazing things for herself, right? So it's interesting to me then when they align themselves with people like James Charles, who I think is incredibly problematic. So then what, to me, the question is, it becomes very much like a murder mystery, like book that I'm reading, or just a mystery, not a murder mystery, but just a mystery, where it's like, what's the motive, right? Like, why are you willing to overlook all that stuff? I mean, I think we all, to some degree, overlook certain things, here and there, but like on that level, right? Like, when are you like willing to, like, if something else happened and then there's pictures of Nikki Tutorials, in New York City going to escape rooms with James Charles, which were just posted not too long ago, are you willing to lose all of your career opportunities because somebody's going to link you with that? Now, that has happened professionally to many people in many industries through the years, okay? So I don't think it's a stretch to say that. And then when I say that, people are like, oh, you're coming from Nikki Tutorials. It's not about that at all. For me, it's always been about the motive. It's been about looking at these people and being so interested in what's going on. When I first started doing this, I did watch a lot of these people's videos. I'd watch every video that they put out from beginning to end, right? And then what happened was, you know, many of us started talking to these people behind the scenes. Many of us started really seeing the truth. And what we realized was that these people aren't really what they present on camera. You know, you know, it's always interesting to me when I see a video that has like 9 million jump cuts. I'm like, what are you cutting out? Okay. And having sat with people before that, it was interesting because the first person that this ever happened to me was I did a collab with Loie Lane years ago when I was in LA. And she was very generous to do this collab with me. And so we sat down on this couch, and I think I filmed one and she filmed one or something like that. I can't remember. But when she was filming it, she would like say something and then she would go, okay, stop. And then she would say, and then she would turn to me and she would ask me, I was so confused. At first I didn't get it. And finally I said, why do you keep on saying stop? And she's like, that's where I put in my jump cuts. She's like, this part won't be on the video. I was like, what? I was like, oh, I thought we were still talking for the video. I don't do that, right? Like, people accuse me all the time of, like, you're doing this, you're contriving this, blah, 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 blah. I literally am sitting down with the camera turning on and having a conversation. I can tell you right now, I was going to talk about YouTube channels where it's about people's last days because they're dying. That's how where this has gone is not what I thought it was going to be. But we're going to get there. So, for me, it was always really interesting because I'm always wondering, well, what exists in the jump cut? What is it you don't want people to hear? That's why I think a lot of times I've said things on camera, but I've never really gone through and explained what I meant. Like when I would say back in the day, like, I wish these people would just like reach over, turn on and turn off and give a full apology or say what's on their heart. What I meant by that was, I'm tired of the jump cuts. What's in the jump cut you don't want us to see? What realism or truth exists in the jump cut that you don't want us to see? Okay, it's not just about editing when it comes to an apology video or an explanation video, okay? It's what exists in the jump cut that you aren't wanting us to see, right? And so that's always been very interesting to me. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's good. I just wonder what it is, right? I'm a curious person. I've always been a curious person. So back in the day, like I said, I watched all these videos, but then when I started, you know, becoming friends with other drama commentary channels, and I would talk to them, and they would say, oh, well, I talked to so-and-so, or Jeffree Star, or Shane Dawson, or Trisha Paytas, or, you know, James Charles, or Toddy Westbrook, or whoever it was. One of us, at one point or another, has had a close relationship with one of these people talking to them, okay? Well, what we thought was a close relationship until we realized we were being used by all of them. And so I think what happened was, collectively, we started seeing that these people are a lot more problematic than we ever gave them credit for. It wasn't just about, like, releasing... I mean, I can remember, like, back covering a video, you know, back in the day with, like, Jeffree Star, and Jeffree Star would release a video, like, he would say, you know, Manny would come out and say, I'm releasing a palette on a Thursday, or Friday, and Jeffree would come out and say, I'm releasing my palette on Thursday. And that was, like, big drama, right? And I didn't really think that much of it, and people would be like, oh, Jeffree's a bad person, blah, 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 because he has all this stuff historically and all this kind of stuff, right? And we won't even get into that in this video, but what I want to say to you is, when I would, and I have recently gone back, because I'm thinking about doing another video about Dramageddon, because people are covering it again, and I thought, well, maybe I'll go back in it. When I went back and I looked at the DMs between, like, me and Jeffree Star, me and some of these other people, what I really realized was how nasty they talked about each other. All of them. Even people that were their friends at the time. How nasty they talked about each other. And I look back on that and I realized, and I think this is what I started to realize at the time, was that all they really cared about was getting to the top, you know? I mean, in fact, I think that Dramageddon, the entire Dramageddon, it all was just about getting to the top. You know, I think Jaclyn Hill and her lipsticks was a rush job to get him out, to get him to get to the top, to get, you know, get this whole thing out. It was a rush job, right? And so I think she overlooked a million things. I think it was this James Charles, Jeffree Star, James Charles, Jeffree Star. Who's going to have the most subscribers, right? And then who's going to take down the other person first? And what do we have on that person that we can take him down? It was this need for power that, for me, was disgusting. It reminds me of the very end of Fargo with, Frances McDormand, who's one of my favorite actresses of life, and she's sitting in the car and she looks back at the guy that's, you know, killed his wife and all these other people for money, and she's like, all of this for money. You know, it's like, that's what it was for me, and there was a turning point for me where I just think I was like, you know, people will say sometimes, like, you seem like you get very angry or passionate. I think this is one thing in our society too, like, don't confuse passion for anger, right? For me, it's passion about that. I don't understand what's going on here. So I I love covering drama, right? Like, I love, love, love covering drama. It's fun for me. It's fun for me to get on here and share my opinions, whether you agree with me or not, right? It's fun for me to get on here and share my opinions, and a lot of the comments that you guys leave, I learn a lot of things about. So this has always been, like, really, really fun for me. But I also have always asked myself the question, with whatever I'm doing on any channel and in my real life, what's the intention behind this, right? I mean, I've talked a lot about this on my vlog. I've talked a lot about this on my booktube channel as far as writing books and things like that. That for me, writing with intention or doing something with intention is important. And I think for a lot of people, it might seem like these are just frivolous little drama videos, right? But the intention behind it was driven from the messages that I got from people that would say, thank you so much for talking about your sobriety. In the 2 minutes that I would talk about sobriety and doing a Toddy video, or a James Charles video or whoever, and they would say, I never thought I could get sober, but, you know, like, I saw that video, and 2 years later, you know, like, I finally was like, if Peter can do it, I can do it. Which was how I felt when I first got sober. I was like, if all these people can do it, then I can do it. It's the planting of the seed, you know? Or somebody messaging me or commenting and saying, you know, like, I'm going through, you know, my grandma passing, and it's the worst time of my entire life, and your videos have really, really helped me. It brought a smile to my face. I can't tell you how many people I have had that have reached out to me that are getting chemotherapy that have said to me, like, I put on your videos just to laugh while I'm going through it. Like, that is so, like, that, I can't even explain to you that when I first started this, I never in a million years ever thought that I would ever get those kind of messages from people, right? And here's the thing that I noticed, right? And this isn't a pat myself on the back kind of moment, because I have talked to several channels out there that feel very similar to me. But what's interesting is how many people I noticed that never noticed that at all, right? Like, most of these people that I was talking about never noticed this at all. I think one thing I would suggest to you when you're watching your favorites and who you support is not always in what they say or what they do, but in what they don't say and what they don't do. I think that's also something that's very, very important. And it's something that I've really learned in my almost 52 years. I'll be 52 on the 29th. It's one of the things that I've learned that I didn't know when I was, let's say, 26 years old that I know now, right? That the inactions of people speak very, very loud. And it's the people that just stand by and don't do anything. When I was being bullied when I was growing up, right, I can remember that sometimes the worst faces in the crowd were the people that I thought that I could trust, or I thought that had my back, that just stood there and never said anything. And they were just as complicit as the other ones, right? When your inaction or your silence to speak about something that you should speak about, right? I think it's why, for me, people always ask me, like, what was the breaking point with, like, Manny? Because people know that I loved Manny for a long time, right? And I did. I really did. I supported him for a long time. I really liked him. I used his lip glosses on all my videos. I'll tell you to this day, and listen, I can't find a lip gloss as great as that Lunar Beauty lip gloss. I just can't. That Celine Lunar Beauty lip gloss is the hands down. I've probably tried 50 lip glosses since then. It is the best lip gloss I have ever used in my entire life. Okay? Period. End of story. That's the truth. And I've said that in multiple videos. But I can't continue to support him, because for me, it wasn't just the standing by James Charles thing. It wasn't just the making excuses to me on the phone for James Charles. It was the fact that he and Laura Lee got in a video that they did not research, and they talked about Colleen Ballinger and what she had done, and whether it was about Adam McIntyre or whether it was about whoever, right? They trivialized it. If you go back and you watch it, okay, it was so trivial in the way that Laura's like, why am I lumped into this? Well, you're lumped into it, Laura, because of the way that you responded to it. She's like, didn't it happen like 4 years ago? And she, like, is so, like, just has no clue about these very, very serious allegations. And then Manny MUA says, I feel sorry for Colleen Ballinger. You feel sorry for her? You feel sorry for her. That was the turning point for me, if you want to know the truth, okay? Was that you are a role model, okay, for young gay men out there, and you feel sorry for Colleen Ballinger that has taken advantage of one. That was the turning point for me. That you have used yourself as a man in makeup to get to the top, okay, of being a role model within the LGBT community, and that is your selling point, okay, is that you're a man in makeup, and you're a role model to all of these boys and men out there, right? that want to get in touch with that side of whoever they are, right? And that's what's gotten you to the top. That's what's gotten you on these TV shows, these interviews, things like that. That one piece, right? And yet you aren't willing to stand on the right side of something when we're talking about like kids being hurt. And for me, like that, I couldn't anymore. I just was like, I can't, right? And I waited, and I was like, hopefully, because what they did was and Manny MUA, he had been in a lot of Colleen Ballinger videos, right? And so I thought, well, okay, maybe he'll come out and address it. I thought, please, at least like in a TikTok or an Instagram. I mean, he made 2 TikToks about James Charles paintage. You'd think he'd at least could come out and do one about why they took down the podcast. So the comments were so harsh on the podcast that he and Laura Lee deleted it. They've never spoken about it since. If we ever did that in the drama commentary community, and by the way, that podcast of theirs is a drama channel. If we ever did that, we would be demanded, okay, to respond to why we took down that video because the comments were so bad. And they just get away with it, right? Well, I really had hope for Manny because I had seen Manny come out and speak about things in the past. I really thought, because I really don't think it's that difficult, right? To get in a video and say, you know what? I effed up. Laura's not part of this because Laura doesn't really know Colleen, but I need to take responsibility for this. I said something very uneducated in that video. You know, I came really hard on the victims when I didn't really know the story and I hadn't done my education. And that being said, I was also really problematic in some videos with Colleen as well to her young audience. And I look back at those videos and they were really pretty problematic. And at that time, it didn't seem like that. At that time, it just seemed funny. Looking back, it doesn't look that way. And I want to apologize to my audience for that. I want to apologize to my audience and anybody that was hurt by that or offended that I didn't do my research. And maybe this is a topic that I shouldn't speak on because I'm too close to it. But I do want to try to rectify the situation. I really thought Manny, I mean, is that really that hard? I just scripted 30 seconds of it for somebody, right? Like, is it really that hard to do the right thing? And it's been moments like that through the years where I've realized they aren't willing to do the right thing because their career is more important to them than doing the right thing. Their career, their money, like they're afraid if they do that, then they're taking a stance against Colleen. If they do that, then they're taking a stance against this person. If they do that, then they're taking a stance against James Charles, right? You know, and it's like, I don't know. For me, it's, you know, people think that, I think that this is what some people don't understand about this, right? Is that they think that I have this huge hatred for the people that I'm talking about. It's not about that, right? It's that I don't understand it. It's confusing to me, right? Things that are confusing to me, I'm very passionate about trying to figure out, right? You know, I'm like binge watching all the seasons of Survivor right now, and I'm like, I like get more heated sitting down in that chair in my living room at 3 o'clock in the morning watching Survivor than I do about anything else, okay? I mean, I get so passionate about talking about TV shows. I get passionate about talking about everything. But when I talk about influencers, people get heated about it. And like, I can tell you right now, anytime that anybody ever comes to my channel and says, you directly hate this person, or you have such a vengeance towards this person, or you hate it, that is such a sign to me that that person might as well just be holding up a sign that says, I'm a super fan. And I don't really care that you're a super fan. I'm a super fan of a lot of people. I just went and saw Stevie Nicks. I love Stevie Nicks. I did a review of some candles, Stevie Nicks candles, yesterday on my review channel. I received those candles in a PO unboxing. I also got another candle from a girl named Rhiannon, just like the song. And I love that. People know I love Stevie Nicks. If Stevie Nicks came out tomorrow and did some wrong, okay, unforgivable bullshit, no, I wouldn't continue to sit there and support her. I don't understand it. It's just like, it's very simple to me. I don't get it, right? So through the years, it seemed to me that the covering of this has gotten very, very dark, okay? And less lighthearted. It's been harder for me to jump on video and just be like, hey, you guys, what's going on? I'm back, and flip a fan and blah, 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 whatever, right? You know, like, I did this video yesterday, and it was about James Charles and this TikTok, and he's showing these grander pictures and stuff like that. And at the same time, it's like, I made some funny jokes in it, things that I thought were funny, and, flipped a few fans, and it was a fun video for me to make, right? But if you watch the video back, because I watch all my videos on this channel back, if you watch it back, towards the end, you can kind of see it kind of turn for me, where I'm starting to talk about the fact that Grindr is endorsing James Charles by leaving, and Grindr has all these allegations. It's just like, it goes, all of a sudden it goes so dark, right? And I think that's what happened to me was a couple years ago that, it started getting like really, all this stuff started getting like, it was like 2 years ago. It was before the Colleen situation ever happened. But I think it was with the James Charles allegations was when it just was like, this is a turning point. And there was a couple of us that were talking about it, because there was a couple of us that really didn't cover the James Charles allegations at the beginning. And we were talking about it, and we would just be like, this is how it's going to start. And then if you guys remember, there were like 2-hour deep dive investigations, you know, exposing everything and looking into all this kind of stuff. And it was like, it's going to change forever. This is how it's going to change. And that's good. Change is good, right? Like, I think it forces things. But at the same time, for me, it changed things for me. This is going to stop in a second. Hold on. I don't know if maybe I needed to get this off my chest today or what, but I'm like, this is not what this video is going to be about at all, right? So then I started asking myself, like, what do I want to do on this channel? And so I just, you know, kept on doing the funny haha videos. Then the Colleen Ballinger situation happened last year, and I felt compelled to talk about it. Enough people were asking me why I wasn't talking about it that I felt like I needed to talk about it, right? And then when I started to talk about it, so many people said to me, if you feel this strongly about it now, why didn't you talk about it 4 years ago when Adam McIntyre came out with his original allegations? And I felt so bad that I hadn't, at that time, come out and talked about it, that I thought, okay, now I have this responsibility, right, on this channel to have very important conversations. And I don't know that I've said it that way before on camera, but that's it, right? Like, I feel like I didn't cover the James Charles stuff at the beginning, and I don't think that one voice is going to change that, but I think that collectively, a lot of us not covering James Charles or getting the word out there or talking about what was going on at the time, I think is one of the reasons why he exists to the level, the power, and the fame that he has today. And that's his, right? Like, I mean, you know, it is whatever. A lot of people are always like, you're so jealous of James Charles. Call it what you want. I mean, I think that is such an easy out when somebody tells some truths about something and you go, you're jealous. I mean, that's literally third grade to me. I mean, that is just like, if you want to have an adult conversation with me about what I think about James Charles, but that jealous stuff to me, I would not want what goes along with the life of James Charles. And I want to make that very, very clear, okay? Would I like to have $100 million sitting in the bank so I never had to worry about another bill? Absolutely. I would be a liar to sit here on camera, okay? But would I want what goes along with that desperation and that lying and that deceit and that deception? No, I don't want any of that. I don't want to have to disclose 30 links and lie about it just to make a bunch of money, okay, to put into my pocket. I want to be able to come on camera and be authentically myself. I don't ever want to have to bullshit with people about who I am, right? So, no, call it jealousy. If that makes you feel better, call it what it wants. That word doesn't hurt my feelings, because that to me is like a very second or third grade, you know, thing. When people say like, oh, you're a hater, that instantly to me is like, but you're a super fan, so whatever. Like, if you want to have an adult conversation, we can have an adult conversation. But then what happened was, I think last year, and you have to remember that at the same time, behind the scenes, I'm being horrifically stalked and harassed, okay, for years on end. And I kind of just had it at the end last year. But that was all going on behind the scenes. And it all directly was related to certain influencers that I was talking about. I mean, I could like go back to the exact tweet that it happened, that I could see it, right? Because I tracked all these people and I could see it, like right where it went back, right? I can still see it today with things, right? And so that was going on behind the scenes, and that was a lot of pressure, honestly. I don't think really anybody has any idea how much pressure that was, you know? And so that was going on, and then I'm like, okay, but I feel like I need to be having these important conversations about Colleen Ballinger and James Charles and other serious things that are going on, but that was so draining to do every single day. I can't imagine what it was like for the victims to live through that, let alone, I mean, it was so hard for me, and I know for other drama channels to get on video and speak about it, like, at length, every single day, that for the victims to live through it, I have no idea how they did that. I really don't. Because it was so emotionally and mentally draining. It just was. And, like, I would get done filming a video, and, like, my husband would say something, because he has no clue about any of this kind of stuff, and he would be like, well, what's going on with Colleen Ballinger? I mean, he knows now what's going on. And I'd just be like, I can't talk about it. My friend Tanya, she follows a lot of this stuff. She would call me up, and she would ask me questions. I was like, Tanya, I'm just drained. I can't talk about it. You know, I just was. And so I really wanted to get back to the fun haha videos. And the reason why I wanted to do that, and I said this in my video the other day, and I don't know know that many people caught it, but I said whether I'm talking about James Charles, Toddy Westbrook, or whatever I'm talking about over here, that's the medium for me to connect with you guys. That's always been what this has been about for me, right? That whatever I'm talking about over here, it's a connection that I have with the people that watch my videos. And I'm so incredibly grateful for each one of you out there that has given me this opportunity, you know? And so for me, it's been, I would say, since like last, you know, the choline situation happened in June, I would say since about August or September, and that was when I came out and I started talking about, you know, the stalking and whatever that was going on, and it's still going on. And so I started talking about that in September, and I think that's when I started thinking, I feel like a shift needs to occur. Like, I feel like a change needs to occur, right? And then, you know, months later, I headed it out. And, you know, that was when I was getting on videos and I was very angry and I was cussing at people. And, you know, like, and some people, I thought it was funny and it was a joke, but I needed to say it. And I was saying get effed all the time. And I thought it was funny because I like that, because my friends and I will say that to each other every once in a while. And a lot of people took it offensively. If you took offense to that, I apologize. If you took offense to my over-the-top, whatever, you know, however I seemed at that time, I apologize to you. I needed to go through that. I needed to go through whatever version of that, of myself that I was going through at that time, because it was like breaking free, right? It was like breaking free, and I had to go through that, and I had to talk about the stalking and the harassing, and I had to get angry on video, and I had to get frustrated, and I had to give no F's anymore, because it got me to where I'm at now, which is where I have such peace and serenity in my life, that I needed to go through that. Probably the most profound comment I have ever received on a video in my entire life. I do not know who said it. I don't know who you are. If you want to sound off in the comment section below, please do. But when I was going through that, somebody commented, I think it was on this channel, not my vlog channel, and they said, I feel like we are witnessing the transformation of Peter Monn in real time. And that is literally what was going on, right? Okay, so now we're over that. And I'm living in peace and serenity, and I'm not willing to give that away. My peace and serenity is too important to me. But I'm also not willing to give up YouTube. And I love doing drama. I love covering drama. It's fun for me, right? And I will continue to talk about the serious stories over here. But I feel like something needs to change over here. Like, I don't know what that is. For a while, I felt like maybe that was true crime. And I still kind of want to do that from time to time, but I don't know that I want to... I kind of saw myself, like, moving all into that direction. There's the research and all that kind of stuff, and all honesty, I'm too lazy for that. I mean, I love it. I love to watch the documentaries and read the books and talk about it. But to do all the research in the notebooks and get on video and read it, that's not interesting to me. I don't want to do something that's not interesting to me, right? The reason why I think that people like the Herb Baumeister videos is because I know so much about that case. I'm so passionate about that case. I feel like I've lived that case for like the last 20 years, right? So it's easy for me to get on video and talk about it. It's not easy for me to get on video and talk about all the other cases, because I maybe watched one documentary and read a couple articles, right? So I have these other videos that I want to do. I think people knew that. A lot of people were like, when I did the Go Ask Alice video, they're like, oh my God, like, you can tell you're so interested in this. I think I need to do more videos like that of things that I'm really, really interested in, you know? And no, I'm not going to stop doing the drama. I'm going to continue to cover the drama. But I do want to tell you something that happened a couple nights ago. So people ask me, like, what I watch on YouTube. That's how this whole thing started, right? And I don't have any channels that I am committed to watching. But I kind of go through my recommended, and I got recommended this video. I do not know who the woman is. I screenshot it because people were asking me. I mentioned this on my vlog, and so I screenshot it. Hold on a second. Do I have her title name on here? My Journey Through Pancreatic Cancer, Donna Mason. And I got this video recommended to me a couple days ago, and the video was called something like My Last Day, or something, or My Last Hours, or Saying Goodbye, I Love You, it said something, I Love You, I Love Me. And that was what pulled me in. And I was like, what is this video? And it was like, my last video, I love, goodbye, I love you, I love me. And I was like, what is this? And it was sitting at like 2.5 million views, right? And so I went in and I watched this video, and it was this woman this Donna woman that has had pancreatic cancer. And, she must live in a state where, you know, you can make your own decisions. We'll just say it that way. And so it was this video where she had basically vlogged her entire journey with pancreatic cancer. And it was her video saying goodbye to everybody. And she was like saying what she was doing with like her pet, and that her family was coming and all this kind of stuff. And I watched this video, and I just was mesmerized. I just was absolutely mesmerized with the grace and the amazing beauty that this human being presented their story. And I went back and I watched several of her videos. Well, what happened was that later that night and then the next day, I started getting recommended all of these videos, okay? And it was funny because somebody mentioned on my vlog channel last night, they said, you need to just clear your watch history, because I talked about this on my vlog channel last night. And I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about clearing my search history, right? Because I started getting, I mean, all of these videos, right? Like, this is what actively dying looks like in hospice care, and this is goodbye. And it was all these videos of my last day, and this is goodbye. And it was this entire community. And these videos, you guys, I mean, they're getting like millions and millions of views, right? And people, the comments, I thought, honestly, a lot of the comments, I just, because I go into things thinking this, I thought the comments would be really harsh. The comments were so supportive, loving, and beautiful, right? And I went and I was like watching this. And, I've had so much grief in my life, and there's so much that I, you know, and I don't even really like talking about it. But, you know, okay, so I haven't really talked much about emotionally what I went through since the accident. And for those of you that don't know, I was in a fatal car accident. I was driving, I had an epileptic seizure, and as a result, a man passed away. I don't say their names out of protection for them because they don't want their names out there, and I think that's only fair, right? I didn't talk about it on video for a long time. When I came back, I made a video talking about it, and then I really didn't ever say anything about it again. I would kind of mention it here and there in vlogs. I would say stuff, but in all honesty, out of protection for the family and the other victims in the accident, and out of respect for the man that had passed, I didn't really want to talk about it. I didn't really feel like it was my right to talk about it. I really didn't feel, I don't know, I just didn't, like, you know, I made a whole video about this, and I talked about it. I felt like to talk about it would feel like I was, like, making myself the victim in the whole situation, which I wasn't. And that's, you know, like, one thing I've really struggled with was how can I feel bad at all for anything that's happened to myself in this situation when somebody's passed away. It's been, you know, I've been in therapy extensively since then and whatever. Well, it was around the week of the anniversary, which was February 16th of 2022. So it was the anniversary this week, or this year, 2-year anniversary. And I got in a vlog and I talked about it. I was really struggling with it. And so I finally got in a vlog and I talked about how much remorse I have and how much guilt I have to this day and how bad I feel and that I wake up with it every day and I live it every day, right? And so as a result of that vlog, somebody that knew the family saw the vlog and reached out to them and watched the vlog. And I know his wife watched the vlog. I think his niece watched the vlog. Several family members watched the vlog, and his mother watched the vlog. And it was the first time that they had ever witnessed me publicly expressing remorse. Now here's the thing, okay? I'm not expressing remorse on video or feeling guilty or all the feelings I'm having because out of protection for them. And I don't want to feel like I'm the one coming across as like, poor me, right? And they don't get to hear that because I don't feel comfortable sharing it online out of protection for them, which is craziness, right? So I finally do, and his mom reached out to me, and she was so sweet, and she was like, I noticed she followed me on Instagram, and so that was the first thing. And so I like called my sponsor and I called my therapist that day and I was like, I know this is his mom. Like, what do I do? You know, and I think I reached out to her and I was like, hey, I noticed that you followed me or whatever. Like, because so many people had recommended that I talk to them. And it's like, that's not my place to go to them. I never felt like it was my place to go to them and say, if you want to talk to me, they might not want anything to do with me. Right. And so I reached out to her and, I said, if you ever want to talk, you know, just let me know. I just left it very open. And, I know she followed me and some other family members have followed me as well. And so she reached back out to me and she was like, yes, I would really like to talk to you, blah, blah, blah. So we ended up talking on the phone. The grace and the mercy that this woman handed me was unbelievable, right? It was such a neat conversation, and the things that she said in there about, you know, like, I mean, she told me a lot about him. And situations revolving that, and I'm not going to get into the personal stuff, but one of the things that she said is you have to stop torturing yourself, you know? And from hearing that from her, like, to hand me that, right? was just so amazing. And so I'm watching these videos, and I'm so incredibly thankful and grateful for her. Like, she opened a door for me that I don't think would have ever been open in my entire life. I think that what, you know, it's interesting because the people that really don't like me wants to constantly throw in my face and say these things like, you know, like, he killed a man and a man died and blah, blah, blah. You think I don't live with that every single day? You think I need your reminder of that, right? Like, you think I don't wake up every single day, and when I'm saying my morning prayers and I thank God for another day here, the first thought that goes after that, the first thought after I say to God, thank you for another day, my first thought isn't, this is the first thing in the morning that I think, that he doesn't have another day. You think I don't think that every single day? And yet you use that to weaponize it against me, right? Like, that's what these cruel and evil people do out there. When his mother was willing to give me 100 million times more grace than somebody that's upset with me over my opinion about an influencer. Like, let's just put this into perspective for a second, right? When we talk about people's character, that his mother was willing to offer me grace and mercy and say, you have to stop torturing yourself. He wouldn't want this for you. He wasn't that kind of person. And yet I have these other people over there. And it's been a struggle for me. It's been a real struggle for me. And so I talked about it, then she and I talked, and it's still a struggle for me. I'd love to tell you that the next day, got up and was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to stop torturing myself. But that's not the case. That's not what happened. And it's still hard, you know? And so I was watching these videos the other night, and I'm seeing all these people that are going through these horrible tragedies in their life, and they're sharing it online with beauty and grace. And through their teaching how to live one moment at a time and die gracefully, I think they taught me how to live. And I think that's really maybe the appeal of all of this, of these channels, of this community that's very, very sad, of following these people's cancer journeys, of following these people's, you know, when all the videos that you get recommended is always their last video, right? And a lot of these people's families, their husbands have gone on to, their kids, some of them have gone on to keep the channels going and share updates of their life and things like that. And it's real inspiring, right? That life goes on and they would want that to happen, you know? And I was thinking about this as I was watching this, and I was like, thinking back to, this is going to sound so strange, but when our dog Pee-Pee passed away, we went to Mexico right after that. And when Pee-Pee passed away, I didn't really know what to do, like, with my head. I mean, he'd been my best friend, my soulmate, and all this kind of stuff. I remember saying to my friend Tanya that she believed that dogs could be our soulmates too, and I really do believe that that little guy was my soulmate. I think Boo Radley, I think Tucker, Boo Radley, Pee-Pee, all of them have been my soulmates, but I was so lost, you know? And I remember, like, being in Mexico and looking on YouTube for videos about, like, what I always have been, this goes back to the drama, right? That I am curious, that I want to know the motive. I want to know the behind the scenes. That's who I am at my core, right? It doesn't matter if it's about Survivor. It doesn't matter if it's about dogs. It doesn't matter if it's about Toddy Westbrook. It's the curiosity, right, that I have. And so I'm searching these videos out. I'm like, what happens to dogs when they pass away? What is really the rainbow bridge? We talk about that, but what really is it other than just some fantasy bridge that dogs and cats go over when they die to go meet all their other dogs and cats, and they're all dancing in a field together, right? Don't get me wrong, I love the idea of that. I really do. I'd love to live there someday, okay? But it all seems rather fantastical to me, especially in the moment where you're losing one of the things that you love the most. I'd love to think that, okay? But I'm a realist at heart. And so I'm watching all these videos, and I'm watching psychic videos that are doing pet psychics about, like, their dogs and cats and ferrets and mice and everything. in heaven. And I very firmly believe in an afterlife. And I have had multiple dreams of a house that my mother lives in there that's on this very small lake. And I've had dreams of Pee-Pee and Tucker being there. And so, yes, I do believe that our pets are with us. Why wouldn't they be? I think they'll be the first people that I see. And yes, I do consider my pets my people. I think they'll be the first things that we see, people or whatever, on the other side. But I'm watching these videos and I'm looking for something. I'm looking for something. I think this is why a lot of people seek out religiosity or spirituality, right? It's like we're looking for answers and things that there are no answers in. And I'm watching this one vet, and this one vet said, dogs and cats do not understand the concept of death, but they do understand the concept of pain. And if it is at that time that as a pet owner, the greatest gift you can give your pet is taking away their pain, because they don't know that they're not coming back tomorrow. And I remember hearing that, and it kind of like planted a seed somewhere in my head. Flash forward, after the accident, that April, Tucker got very sick. He had a tumor behind his spleen, and it was bleeding and things like that, and we had to make like an immediate decision. And we were either going to bring him at home and he was going to die at home in pain, is what the vet told us, or we, had to make the call, which we did. And I remember in that moment, it wasn't even like a thought to me when she looked at us and was like, what do you want to do? And my husband's looking at me like, just bawling his eyes out, and he's holding this little dog and he doesn't know what to do, right? And I went back and I remembered that video where that vet said, the one thing we can give our pet is to remove it from pain. And that's the most human thing that you can do, because dogs don't understand the concept of death. They don't understand that tomorrow they're not going to be here, right? And I remember I looked at Alex and I said to him, I said, we have to do this for him. We have to stop being selfish. This is not about us and wanting one more day with him. And my husband turned to the vet, with the emergency vet, and he said, Tucker has a brother, that Bradley, that they're litter mates. And they've never spent a night apart in their entire lives. They've slept together every single night. Can we please go get him and bring him here so he can say goodbye? And the vet said, yeah. So I held Tucker, and Alex went and got Boo Radley and brought him in there, and it was, it was nice. It was sweet. It was, not sweet in like a nice way, but it was like how, I don't know, I think it was how it was meant to be. And watching these videos last night from these people dying so gracefully, living so gracefully, just like brought all this stuff for me, like of my mom and the man in the accident and his family. And I'm reading the comments, and they're helping so many people, and they're helping me. And I love doing drama. I do. I love doing drama. I love covering it. But I thought there has to be something more than this. This cannot be what this channel exists for alone, Whenever I do full videos over here about addiction or recovery, no, they don't get as many views as if I did a video about Trisha Paytas, right? But does it really matter? Does it really matter if one person that watches that video 5 years later sends me a DM and says, it was because of that video, Peter, that planted the seed that today I have a year sober, right? And somebody heard something that I said that helped them. Just like me hearing something that these people said or that vet said helped me, right? So I'm going to continue to do drama until I don't want to do drama anymore. Tomorrow will be a funny fan flipping video. I already know what the video is for tomorrow. It's going to continue. It's not going to stop. But I think I need to start weaving more of my personal stories over here. I've been doing a lot of them on my vlog and my Peter Does Stuff. And people, this is the thing. People really love my vlog. And I'm so grateful for that. I have a dedicated group of people that watch my vlog every single day. For like the last 5 years, I've got the same consistent amount of views on that vlog every single day. And I don't think I've gained a subscriber. I think I go up 10, down 10, up 20, down 20, up 30, down 30. I don't think I've gained a subscriber. I don't think that subscriber count has moved in 5 years, and I don't care. That view count has stayed the same, which means that people enjoy watching it. And this to me is very much like a vlog. This is kind of a vlog for me. If you're watching this and you're part of the Vloggerino group or you watch my vlogs, I mean, this is what a vlog is like for me. And so maybe I need to approach things on this channel more like my vlog, you know? My therapist has really encouraged me because I've worked through, I would say, 80 to 90% of my OCD that I've been really working on. That came as a result of the accident afterwards. It really came on after that. It existed before that, but it really came out after that. And so, you know, we were talking and we had a whole session about how everything that worked for me, and he was like, I really think it would be great for you to do an entire dedicated video for it. Number one, you might be helping other people, but number two, it'd be a good video for you to look back at if it comes up again, you know? And I thought that would be good. I was going to put it on my Peter Does Stuff channel. I think that's a video that I'm going to do over here. There are other videos that I want to do over here. I have a video about bullying that I want to do. I did a video about bullying years ago, and to this day, I still have people email me, okay, like once a month and say, I saw this video about you bullying. I had somebody reach out to me from my school that I went to, and they were a year behind me, and they said, I went to high school the same time as you did, and I'm not gay, but I was bullied for something completely different. You sharing your story, because I knew who you were in high school, and I knew how bad you were bullied, you sharing your story made me feel so seen. It helped me out so much. I want to make videos to inform the consumer and make people laugh and think deeper about stuff when it comes to influencers. I would also like to think that in some way I can impact some positive change in the world as well. Those are some of the videos that I want to do over here. If there are full-on videos that you guys, topics that I've talked about or reference that you want to see, put it in the comment section below. But watching these videos and these people share so genuinely and authentically the journeys through their terminal illnesses and their last days, and watching this one man apologize for dying to his audience and how grateful he was for it, I was blown away. I was blown away. I was like, this is beautiful. This connection that he has with his audience is very similar to the connection that I feel with much of my audience, especially on my vlog. And I was like, this is so beautiful. That in your last moments, what you would think is, I want to make a YouTube video to say goodbye to people that mean so much to me. And I've always kind of knew that that was the case for me. I've said on my vlog channel, I've thought about what my last vlog would look like, you know? Some changes are coming to this channel. I don't know necessarily what it's going to be yet, but I want to make some more purposeful, more meaningful videos over here. So if one day I'm talking about James Charles or Toddy Westbrook or Jeffree Star, and the next time I'm talking about moving through grief and what that looks like, I just don't want anybody to be confused. And I don't know when that change is happening. It might be July, it might be August, it might be December. But I do want to make more videos that my story might help one person out there. I am such a believer as a member of a 12-step program that there is no greater power than one person sharing their story with another. And I'm so grateful for these people that have shared their stories with us on YouTube and that I got to witness last night. That really made me think about the importance of the things that we are doing. I love you guys so much, and I will see you tomorrow.